I'm going to talk about detecting mold illness in children. I have an expertise in this area after going through it with my daughter who struggled with mold illness for 6+ years. We overcame it. At one point she was disabled. She couldn't even function normally. She had her eyes crossing. She was having seizures. She was itching herself until she bled. She was having all kind of, borderline autistic-like symptoms, behavioral issues, etc., and reactions to chemicals, convulsing in her sleep. I mean, the list goes on and on. So this is my daughter, Kelsey. Say hi. Hi. So we discovered finally that mold was causing us an issue, and I wanted to create a video because it was life-changing for us, because otherwise I would have had to, take care of her all my life, and she would have been very unhealthy, and nobody would have understood why, and she would have just been, living a very abnormal and unhealthy life, and that would have been really sad to see. So, what I did was eventually I realized after years of going place to place and seeing her health go up and down when she was in school, out of school, one apartment to another apartment, we figured out that, hey, there's something in the air that's making her sick, and it started to happen when she was around 4 years old. So I want to discuss in this video how you can identify if you're having a child that's having environmental issues, okay? Is your child having a cough? Is your child having chronic sinus issues? Are they having any behavioral issues? Are they reacting to food? Is their face flushing like her face used to flush? Eyes crossing, temper tantrums all the time, issues at school, behavioral issues at school, learning issues, memory issues, skin issues, sleep issues, anxiety issues, intrusive thoughts, etc., depression, sadness at a young age. All these things can actually be caused by mold, because mold produces mycotoxins, and these mycotoxins they're toxic to the whole body, to the kidneys, to the liver, to the neurological system. When you have a child that's growing and the body is so vulnerable at that time, then they'll start to express pretty obvious symptoms. You could have kids express them in ADHD symptoms. They could have different mental health symptoms. They could have eczema. They could have stomach issues, etc. If you're having these unexplainable symptoms that just don't seem to go away from doing other things, even if you switch the diet, even if you start giving them better food, you're giving them supplements, the kid's just not getting better, or you have a child who has autism or some significant issue, then I would definitely look into mycotoxins. How do you define if mycotoxins are an issue? Well, there's two different tests, okay? The one is by Vibrant Wellness. It is a mycotoxin urine test, and mycotoxin urine test will show you how many mycotoxins are in your child's urine, all right? My daughter had low amount of mycotoxins in her urine, but she still was extremely sick. So we didn't completely understand why, but at least the mycotoxins that were showing up, they were black mold toxins, so we knew something was wrong there. So we looked further into it. We said, let's do the mycotoxin blood test, okay? It's the IgE mycotoxin blood test, which tests antibodies to the mycotoxins. It's from mymycolab.com. Once we did that test, we saw her levels were literally through the roof, and she had reactions to nearly all the mycotoxins. So clearly she was extremely sensitive, okay? Because there's two different types of mold sickness or mold illness. It's a sensitivity mold illness, mold sensitivity, and then there's mold toxicity, okay? So, she was clearly very sensitive. She was not extremely toxic, but she was extremely sensitive. And this is what I learned, going through this, that kids can have these chronic health conditions or these permanent health conditions, and they can actually not even be permanent. They can be caused by mycotoxins. It can be caused by mycotoxin exposure in your home, more than likely, and often in schools as well. We saw both. So if you have questions, reach out to me. I've helped plenty of kids who have had chronic health issues, and because of the experience I've had with my daughter and myself, and using the mast cells as the main tool to be able to identify what's actually causing these issues. So if you have any questions, reach out. My website is endsickness.org. I got hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos in there teaching you how to heal yourself. Take care. Say bye, Kels.
Bye.